So the UK government has an original idea. They want to give the unemployed weight loss jabs to return to work, essentially saying people are out of work because they are morbidly obese, they are unhealthily overweight. So if we can just help them regain their health with weight loss jabs, then everything will be hunky dory. There'll be less pressure on our healthcare system, and we'll have more people working and less drawing taxpayer funding. Win-win all around. And in the abstract, it actually makes some sort of sense, so long as it's voluntary, you're offering it to them. In the case that they are unhealthily obese, grossly overweight, then sure. Except I can't help but be skeptical every time I hear about new medication ever since the 2019 pandemic thing. So let's see. Keir Starmer said he acknowledged that more money was needed for the NHS, and the government also needed to think differently to ease pressure on the health system. His comments came after Health Secretary Wes Streeting said the jabs could be given to help people get back to work. Some injections are already prescribed on the NHS for the treatment of obesity and also for people with diabetes. He told the BBC jabs would be very helpful to people who want and need to lose weight. It's very important for our NHS because, yes, we need more money. Oh yeah, that's the same quote, need to think differently. Streeting suggested the medicine could be life-changing for individuals. In an opinion piece for The Telegraph, the Health Secretary wrote, widening waistbands are also placing significant burden on our health service. The long-term benefits of these drugs could be monumental in our approach to tackling obesity. I'm sorry. Long-term benefits. Let's see CBS News, hardly a right-wing website, definitely not questioning the science. Headline, Ozempic side effects could lead to hospitalization, and doctors warn that long-term impacts remain unknown. I wonder if you're talking about Ozempic here. Let me see. Oh, look, it is Ozempic. The medication which suppresses appetite is sold under the brand names Wegovy, used to treat obesity, and Ozempic for diabetes. So what long-term benefits are those drugs going to have that we don't know about yet? This is asinine, in my opinion. The NHS's latest health survey for England shows in 2022, 29% of adults in England were obese and 64% were deemed to be overweight. Yeah, I agree that it's a rising epidemic, but in my opinion, it's about habits and food. How about you get the chemicals out of food and water and start talking, especially in schools, getting people used to exercising, being less sedentary. I think that's going to give you a much better result than jabbing people with stuff you don't know the long-term consequences of. Personal opinion. So, illnesses relating to obesity cost the NHS $11 billion a year, Streeting said. Obesity has also been linked to the development of type 2 diabetes, with the NHS spending around $10 billion a year, 9% of its budget, to care for people with diabetes. Certainly, this is one of the most significant health problems in terms of the scope of people affected by it. I'm not saying it's a bad idea to treat it, I'm questioning your means. So, the government announced a 5-year trial in Greater Manchester of the weight loss drug Mounjaro? Whatever, the maker is company Lilly, the world's largest pharmaceutical company, investing $279 million as part of the trial, which will look at whether using the drug will reduce worklessness and NHS use. NHS officials have suggested the rollout of the drug across England will need to be staggered due to anticipated high levels of demand. Nearly 250,000 people are expected to receive a Mounjaro jab over the next 3 years, officials said. Interesting. I wonder, are there any other problems with drugs like these? How about this little gem here? Disproportionality analysis from World Health Organization data, so definitely pro any big pharma, on semaglutide, liraglutide, and the urge to, let's say, end yourself. Incidentally, semaglutide is another name for Ozempic. So, finding this disproportionality analysis through the case control design based on the World Health Organization global database identified a disproportionality signal of wanting to end yourself with semaglutide, which remained significant when comparing semaglutide with other similar medications in the subgroup of patients with co-reported use of antidepressants and so on. So essentially, people who were on antidepressants or how to put it, had thoughts leaning in the direction of ending themselves beforehand were the most affected, and they had a significant margin with people who didn't use this particular medication. So if you're at all heavily depressed, let's say, this could be a problem for you. There's also other side effects to Ozempic. They had normal side effects, which are, for the most part, gastronomical, but here it is. Nausea, abdominal pain, constipation, and diarrhea. These side effects can sometimes get better over time, but the doctor here says that at least 10% of patients who start these drugs have to be taken off them because the side effects do not improve. Constant nausea and abdominal pain is an unpleasant reality. The stomach and brain are so connected that intestinal issues can lead to stress, anxiety, and depression. It's what's known as the gut-brain connection. So it can also cause anxiety and depression, which is not a very good thing when your drug, how to put it, strengthens depression to unreasonable levels and makes you want to end yourself sometimes. They also have problems because it suppresses appetite to the point that some people even experience malnutrition. There's also the fact that after you, how to put it, are taking off that drug, it can worsen your eating disorder. It says here that a doctor prescribed her Ozempic. This is a certain model and TikTok star talking about Ozempic, and after she was found to be pre-diabetic and insulin resistant, weight loss was also a goal, but after going off the medication, she gained back the weight she lost while on Ozempic, which subsequently intensified her binge eating disorder. Eating disorder experts have stressed that hunger suppressants of any kind can lead to or worsen eating disorders. Eating disorders are not cured by weight loss or weight gain. So there could be a lot of side effects, and of course the long-term effects, it's unclear how these drugs, when prescribed for weight loss, affect the body after years of use. There's a lot of excitement about how good these drugs are, and certainly they are very good, but there's a little bit of an unknown in terms of long-term. At some point, does your body not respond to it anymore? I don't know. So, if you have these medications that you don't know the long-term effects of and are quite significant side effects too, are you really going to roll them out to basically 25% of the population? How many people are suffering from obesity? They're talking here about 250,000 people expected to receive the other jab, the Mounjaro jab, over the next 3 years. I'm just very leery of the safety requirement by governments for medication at this time. I feel as though the connection between big pharma and government is so tight these days that it is entirely possible for big pharma to pressure or influence government to buy large amounts of the medications, earning record profits like we had in 2019. And then it turns out that there's all sorts of problems, but they have liability shields and you can't actually do anything about it. I don't know that that's the case here, but I assume that the largest pharmaceutical company in the world is not staffed with idiots. And so if there truly are significant side effects to the medications, and the government is going to roll them out large scale, presumably they know that there will be problems and they might be sued. And they would be prepared for that. Just my 2 cents. Anyway, the idea that you can just jab away your problems, in my opinion, is unrealistic. There's no shortcuts in life. If you want to be healthy, you have to live healthy. You have to eat healthy. You have to exercise. And I think eating healthy is 80-90% of the whole not being obese thing. Let's be honest. Not that exercise isn't good for your body. It's very good for your body. But I think being obese is mostly about what you eat. Not just the quantities, but the quality of the food. If you eat a lot of ultra-processed food and a lot of chemicals, you will be obese even if you eat small amounts, in my opinion. There's very little in the way of self-discipline that we are expected to pursue today. And I think that's a big mistake. I'd say it should be something fundamental for society. And the more we try to wave away the results of our indulgence, the deeper the hole we dig for ourselves. Let's phrase it that way. I don't think there'll be any large-scale improvement due to any of these medications. Medication is not magic. And often, because it is targeted specifically at symptoms rather than root causes, it can make things worse. What you need to do is tackle the root of the problem. And the problem with that is that it would lose money to the largest corporations, the big monetary interests. The way we eat is influenced heavily by research on health and nutrition, and there's large monetary interests that don't want it to change. I hope that people like RFK Jr. are drawing attention to the severity of the problem, because I think it's at the root of many, many health problems that we see today. But just jabbing it away won't work. My 2 cents, I'm not a doctor, but in my mind, it's 99.9% jabbing away the problem will not make a positive difference. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.